Put the everything in that. Really?
Yeah.
Like safer red stuff, maybe? Or the muscle stuff? I'll go see what we have.
Maybe.
So put the pillars up. I put the top perimeter on each side. Now I could just do the shorter side. Not bad. Because I kept measuring it, all my measuring. I have you in my head, like, measure. I was like, that's a little great. I don't look at the same size. Like, metric size,
Yeah.
because I'm always like fucking an inch difference for some reason. Okay, bacon. Ow! Ow! Oh. Move. Go. Huh? Mm? Who the fuck? Oh. Weird. What the fuck? That's fucking annoying. Okay. Oh. Hmm? Oh. Why?
Ready to pair.
Yeah, well. What?
Connected.
Thank you.
Actually going to translate into action. This is the Canadian press.
Now, an update from the CJAD 800 Traffic Center.
Good evening. Over on the Met West, we have a towing operation at the Saint Denis SOS. The right lane is protected. The flashing lights are more than visible, and it is busy from the Christophe Colomb sector up on La Fontaine. That's 5 minutes via Souvigny East. You can double it from the Hochelaga Bend down the 25, 138 east to the 20 east. Remain closed. This is a towing up after a crash there with protection on the scene. You also have a bunch of other closures coming your way related to the Ville Saint-Pierre interchange. Another route to 138 east between Clement and Ville Saint-Pierre will be boarded up at 11 o'clock, at which time the 40 east will be closed from the Côte de Liesse exit 65 all the way to the Laurentian Pond. West closed from the start of the Deuce as of 10:30 with the eastbound Ville Maurice exit closed as of 10:45. Expand with Travail's bigger, better location with even larger selections of safety, footwear, and work apparel. Lots of in-store specials with up-to-date fit expertise. Expand with Travail.ca. I'm Mark Shalhoub, CJAD 800 Traffic Report, 9:50.
When the news breaks, be the first to know with CJAD 800.
Quebec's population grew to over 9.1 million in 2024, thanks to nearly 160,000 new immigrants.
First, with breaking news emails sent to your inbox. Sign up today at CJAD800.com.
White smoke emerges from the Sistine Chapel chimney. This is Omar Sajidina. Tonight on CTV National News, Catholics around the world celebrate the new and what we know about the historic selection. Full details tonight at 11 and at ctvnews.ca.
It was only a kiss. How did I do?
This is Shane Hewitt and the Night Shift on the iHeartRadio Talk Network.
Throwback Thursday. Ed Connor is here, Retro Ontario historian, writer, content creator, all around cool cat. Lives in a barn. Hey Ed, welcome. Hey,
Thank you, Shane. Always a pleasure.
so Throwback Thursday 2005. Where were you in 2005?
I was working at a kids magazine, publishing a kids magazine.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I love magazines. That was one of the things that was always on my radar to be a part of. Of course, the internet changed that.
The internet and the cost of paper, unfortunately, kind of killed that business. Magazines are like $30 now.
What?
Well, it's because they only sell a few of them, but the good ones are great when you get them. All right, 2005, we're going back in history for Throwback Thursday. Cool year, many things. The year my son was born, so that's important. And lots happened in 2005. Where does it take you?
Well, I'll tell you, Shane, one of the big things that happened sort of in the pop culture sphere in 2005 that still, you can feel today was there was a leak. The sixth, I believe it was the sixth Harry Potter book was coming out. It was called Harry Potter and then the Half-Blood Prince.
Mhm.
And, you know, by this point, it was a massive pop culture, you know, juggernaut, really. The books, the films had I think they'd already done 3 or 4 films by this point, you know, billion-dollar industry. And the anticipation for the 6th book, you know, was off the chain.
Huh. Off the
And
chain.
They shipped the books
Jesus.
out, and they obviously were not meant to go on sale until I forget, you know, what the date was. And some poor guy that was working at Real Canadian Superstore in Vancouver
Oh.
put them out early, put them out like a week before they were meant to be on sale. And of course, somebody else, the manager, saw this and flipped out and stopped it. But by this point, they had already sold about a dozen or so copies of it.
Wow.
And so you could imagine, I mean, Raincoast was the publisher in Canada. You're talking about this, you know, publishing empire that stretched around the world, losing their minds that this book had escaped. And they started to make appeals to the people that said, maybe you accidentally bought this. If you return it, we will give you a J.K. Rowling autographed, edition in a week. So they got about half of them back.
Mhm.
But there were still, 6 or 7 out there. And they obviously, instead of fighting it, they embraced it.
Why are you
The marketing people said,
crying?
look, instead of worrying about this, why don't we flood the internet with fake spoilers? Because I think the fear was, of course, that somebody that got the book would go on, a chat room or something and spoil the plot twist. And that changed the whole dynamic, because up until that point, movie producers and studios, when anything leaked, they instantly got defensive about it. And what happened with that Harry Potter thing was they kind of embraced it and said, let's use these leaks to our advantage. And so they put fake spoilers everywhere. And it actually ended up helping the book, because they got all this, free publicity. But it was funny, because of all the countries in the world, where does it leak? In Canada. So we can be proud of that, Shane.
I
Would
think
it
that's
run you a bath,
that's kind
maybe?
of wild. Would you have given the book back? I think I would have given
No.
the book back.
No?
I don't think so, man. I
Did you
would
get
have
the
been.
autographed copy?
The autograph copy, I guess, would have been cool. But I
It's
think
worth more.
the FOMO, right, or the feeling that you would have had of having something before the rest of the world, that they were so crazy. I mean, people nowadays, I can't think of any book that's come out, maybe my book will be like this in the fall, but that had that many people kind of waiting, like literally camped out for a week to get a book.
I guess, yeah. But I would think big picture. Do you want to satisfy yourself? I mean, you've got the book, so you could, but now it's 2005. So copying the book is not easy. But at the same time, if you give the good book back, you get an autographed copy. And I would have negotiated that too. I would have said, well, tell you what, I'll give you the book back, but I want you to give me the autographed copy and then another free copy, so you could preserve the autographed copy. And then that would be worth way more in the long run, you would think, than just that week of, ooh, I know all the secrets, but I'm not going to tell anybody.
Well, and somebody tried to sell one of them on eBay, and I don't think it was ever established if it actually was a legitimate, leaked copy. But yeah, it was the early days of the internet. There wasn't the infrastructure. There obviously wasn't Twitter or X. There were, Facebook was still sort of siloed off to the universities. So it wasn't like now when something goes crazy viral. But no, that was kind of, I was, as I mentioned, working at a kids mag. And so that was kind of the big, 911 was that there was copies of this book out there. But no, I think, 2005, movie-wise was a fantastic year. That template, which unfortunately never changed, kind of started back then, because you had, this is the aftermath of the Lord of the Rings movies. But we had Peter Jackson's King Kong came out in 2005. You had the third episode of the Star Wars prequels, Revenge of the Sith, which I think has been just re-released because it's obviously the 20th anniversary. And you know, people at the time were a bit hot and cold about it, but I think 20 years later, there's been a little bit of of an appreciation of it, and we've all seen what came after that. And I think now it actually is accepted as being probably the last great Star Wars movie.
Yeah. I've been trying to watch the Star Wars stuff lately. I'll save that conversation for another day, but I find it to be so tangled up, and it's more like the Marvel universe than it is anything else. But anyway, but yes, it was one of those ones that technically it was like amazing to watch, right? But it still had the old 70s style buttons and throwbacks, which was kind of cool. I think they balanced it well there. 40-Year-Old Virgin came out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Very, very funny movie. Still to this day holds up, I think. My favorite movie of that year was, I think it's a little bit underrated, the Steven Spielberg War of the Worlds. Yeah, because that one was
You're not to get out. You're not going to come down.
response to 9/11.
Well, it's too late now. I'm down.
That is very similar to 9/11.
Oh,
and I think he
nice.
took an old classic Hollywood science fiction movie and took that 9/11 imagery and mixed them together. And of course, Cruiser. That was the year 2005 was when he went nuts. Really, when he jumped on Oprah's couch and a million memes came out of that because he was there to promote War of the Worlds. And it kind of got lost.
Because he was so in love, remember?
Right, with Katie Holmes, yeah.
That didn't work out, did it?
We talk about the early 2000s, and wow, it still feels like a week. It doesn't, so much has changed, but at the same time, so much is still similar,
God, you're
I have to
so
wonder about that, 'cause
fucking
it feels
vague
like just
about
yesterday.
everything.
But if we walked back to that, like, would it really feel different? I mean, people weren't on iPhones yet. True. Right? And so, but, the internet was not compared to today. By all means, it was fast back then. We didn't really complain much about it, but it's not like this, right? And so when you think about it, I often wonder about 2005 and where it would go. Such a naive time. I guess that's what historians do, right? Is keep the good stuff alive and remind us of the lessons that we need to learn. And that's what you all invest at.
That's what we try to do, and I think there's always good in some of those years. Maybe it didn't feel like it at the time, but hey, 20 years hindsight. Look, 2005 is when gay marriage was legalized in Canada,
Right?
Yeah.
and that wasn't that long ago. Which is
No, it really wasn't. Not that long ago,
Yeah,
we were
that's a good
saying
reminder,
the
actually,
gays are
that,
spreading
context
the
and
AIDS
contrast
because
of
they're
where
fucking
things
monkeys
are and where they
and they need
where
to
they
be
came
put
from.
to death.
It's not that far. I mean, people were smoking still everywhere in 2005. I'm pretty sure in 2005, at least in Alberta, you could still smoke in a bar,
yeah.
right? And it wasn't very long before that.
It was,
the other provinces had already got rid of it.
2015,
Alberta
I
was
think,
probably the
that
last one.
America,
Fascinating.
we did it in 2005, America only did it in 2015.
It's crazy.
Obama.
Oh, man.
What he did before he left.
Alright, Throwback Thursday, retro.
Last thing he did, legalize gay rights.
Now, an update from the CJAD 800 Traffic Center.
Good news on a couple of fronts. Met West, that towing operation at the SOS at Saint Denis, had the right lane blocked to boot, has wrapped up, but some residual volume on the approach to that sector. Over at the Ville St. Pierre interchange on the 138 East, the exit to the 20 East has been reopened after they cleared the crash. You have the 138 East between the Clermont exit and the St. Pierre interchange set for a full closure at 11. An hour earlier on the flip side, 138 West of Clermont will have 1 out of 2.
What are you doing?
Large. You'll have the 4
I see you
eastbound
sneaking
closure
around.
tonight from the Côte de l'Essex at 65 to the Laurentian Outer interchange, starting up at that 11 o'clock hour. You'll also have the 136 East de la Montagne exit number 4 closed at 10. 10:30 will be the westbound side from the start at Penn End all the way to the Lucien Lallier entrance. Cordoned off. It's sports experts and atmosphere. Buy more, save more until Sunday. Get an instant discount on your spring purchases. Details in store. And others from BC on the roads. Calling your tips to Star 800. I'm Mark Shalhoub. Your next report, 9:30.
Are you tired of lunch bag letdowns?
Yeah.
Do you want something made fresh?
Yeah.
Do you have $5.99?
Yeah.
If you answered
Yeah.
it's time to get Subway 6-inch Italian BMT with freshly sliced deli meat or sweet onion chicken teriyaki with Canadian farm-raised chicken for just $5.99. Stick that in your mouth and eat it.
Oh. See if we can find something better. Oh. What? How can I help you? I want to come down here and there's nothing going on. Yeah, it is. Oh, it's beautiful.
On the sandwiches, she used blank giant jelly. And
Oh.
of course, you get these kind of outrageous.
Oh my god. Talking about PB and you go. Both of you. They're not. Everything about the culture is weird. Yeah, some's American. And did you know they choose their own names? Yeah! He chose Leo. His name. Oh, I love it. Sometimes they're funny. Oh, he terrifies me. He's worse than Pauline Marois. That's an interesting answer. Okay. Oh, so racism done? Oh, but we're not racist against the blacks. Oh, if Alberta separates from what Quebec does, can you imagine? Holy shit. That's why he's on board with this. He says, yeah, Alberta should separate. Everyone's like, what? Really? Like, even I was surprised. Oh, that guy's weird. Or weird. Okay. That's how you play it. That's how you do politics. You have to play. Trying to be a poor sport. Shut up and listen. Wait. No, they want Alberta separatism, not Quebec separatism. Yeah. That's exactly what the French guy did. He was like, yeah, Alberta totally should separate. We can't really give you advice on how to separate. We can tell you how not to. What? Oh, okay. I think that's why they started the NDP. Well, in all fairness, kind of fucked it up with the fucking partnering with Trudeau thing. Fucking pulled out. Oh wow. blue. Sorry, so people out. Oh my god, this is a lot. Okay.
Go back in time on Thursday and celebrate different things going on. We very much did exactly that. We were celebrating the 20th anniversary of the Canadian War Museum, the new version of it that's open in Ottawa. I absolutely recommend that you go there. But on top of that, it's also VE Day, and 80 years ago, the victory in Europe from the Second World War. Three things we learned today. Shane Hewitt in the night shift. We had Tim Cook on what it was like to visit the Netherlands. Tim is a curator at the Canadian War Museum and has been doing a bunch of work around their new exhibition.
Your listeners will remember that at the end of the war, the Dutch were starving. The Nazi overlords had weaponized food. Thousands were dying from starvation, the old and the very young. It's a savage time. It was the Canadians who liberated them, and the Dutch to this day remember Canadians, thank Canadians, continue to send us tulips. And that is a powerful story, I think. And we tell that partially in our new exhibition, Last Voices, where we have Canadians talking about that experience, as well as others, those who served. And this is a different exhibition because it's less about what people did during the war from 1939 to 1945. We tell that story in our signature galleries. It's more about the after effects of war, the trailing effects, the legacy. How did those million Canadians come back to Canada? How did they transition out of the armed forces?
This is the most boring shit I've ever heard.
Which ones built up the country? How did they deal with the stress and the loss? How did they reflect on their service? There are those who buried their experiences, refusing to engage with it. There are others who later came back, often through pilgrimages or returning to places like France or the Netherlands. It's a terrific exhibition. And what I really like about it, Shane, is that you hear from the veterans, and they're 95 years old. They're 100 years old. And many of them sharp as a tack.
God. People are just the worst. Why is this toast so hard to butter? My toast is falling into pieces. Remind me next time we go get groceries. We should get the bread you picked last time. Okay. The big thick one. I like it. What? God. Yeah. Oh. That's true. Why? Well, why? god. Ah! Ah! Like a teenager, 1997. Like a 25-year-old. This is stupid. Usually they're so good. That's so stupid. Because the Russian media actually will hire you and you don't need to change your content. You can keep it exactly the same. Why is it a bad thing? Yes! Oh, with the fucking ads. What? Yeah, they're talking about Mark Carney. They don't. Look right there. Oh, shit. Hey, man. You say fucking fucker up? Like, wow. Way to go against Trump. You're just fucking, you're the guy that's gonna do this. Yeah. You're ridiculous. Yep, that's all he's focused on. It's American. That's all he is. All he talks about is Donald Trump. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Wow. Wow. That's why you went to fucking Mar-a-Lago. Go beg him not to. Oh, that's smart. How do you get from suicide? Talk to him the same way you talk to your parents or your boss. Make a joke, go, oh my god, this is my favorite. No, no, no. Wow. Are we about done? Oh, oh. Oh. A lot of people say that too. Mm. scientist. I didn't do it. How are you? Oh, I don't care. Ooh. Oh. Oh. God damn it. Ooh.
Mm. Okay. You would put it in the fridge. Wow, so many lighters. What happened? Hey. Hmm.
And come daddy.
Hmm?
And come daddy.
You're such a dummy. Oh. No.
Baby!
Yeah, what? Yeah! Like that bitch. What? Why?
Because I'm scared. Scared of the dark. Scared. Na 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 na.